In America, thank you for joining us. An interesting segment coming up. We're talking with Audrey Lanford. She's a creator and co-director of scambusters.org, a great website. It's the #1 website on the internet, and it's designed to help protect you from scams, both online and offline. Audrey, thank you for joining us on This Week in America.
It's really my pleasure.
I mentioned a great website. You have so much information on there, and you've pointed out a couple of scams that are reasonably new. The first one, and I've actually seen some emails, been getting some spam on this, and this is the poetry contest scam. Talk a little bit about that and what we should watch for.
Okay, sure. The poetry scam is one in which people enter what they believe to be poetry contests, and they get back an email that says, "Congratulations. You are one of the semi-finalists." Now, the thing is that's unusual is that everybody gets that exact same
Everybody's a
no
semi-finalist.
what the quality of their poetry is. And what the people want you to do is, in order to be included in their book and become a winner, you need to buy a copy of the book, which, depending on the scam, can cost $70, $50, even $100. And then you'll be included. You'll get your copy of the book. And then they try to sell you all sorts of other things, up to and including Poet of the Year, which for typically $500 you can, and travel expenses of course, you can go to be part of this conference. And so what happens is that people believe that, you know, their poetry is really good. Their poetry may well not even be read. But certainly everybody's getting that same letter about how wonderful their poetry is.
It's very flattering until you find out you're one of 500,000 people.
Raking in quite a bit of money, millions of dollars, getting people to buy these books of poetry from all these people who are willing to pay.
That is one of the scams that's exposed on the website scambusters.org. By the way, you can go to that website, and they have Internet Scam Busters, the #1 publication for Internet fraud. It's absolutely free. It's very interesting when you see all the information that's available on the website. You're listening to This Week in America. Audrey Lanford, the creator and co-director of that website, is with us on This Week in America. Let's talk a little bit about something that, in fact, I just read a newspaper account a while back. Using your credit card in a restaurant. In fact, a Chicago company that conducts security audits for merchants said that almost 2/3 of the security breaches they've seen over the last year and a half have been generated from restaurants. And they say the wireless network is poorly protected. You have employees that take the credit card and you're not quite sure what they're doing with it. And they've encouraged restaurants to be very, very careful in using credit cards. And I know you've talked about this on Scam Busters as well. It is a problem, isn't it?
It really is a problem. I mean, most people, when they think of credit card fraud, they think of online. That somehow using your credit card online can be very dangerous. But the reality of it, and certainly people are scammed online. I mean, there's no question about it. But the reality is that it's much more dangerous to give your credit card to a waiter or waitress at a restaurant than it is to shop on a secure website. So, yeah, you really should be very careful what happens to your credit card when you give it to the person who's waiting on you at a restaurant.
I mentioned my wife is now, when we eat out, it's like, okay, we're paying in cash because I'm really not sure what happens to that. It turns out to be very prudent. Not only does it disappear, but it says that oftentimes the wireless networks are not protected, and somebody with a laptop sitting in the parking lot can get all the credit card information.
Yeah, it really, and that's an area that people really don't know about. So I'm very glad you mentioned that, because it can be a real problem.
You're listening to This Week in America. Audrey Lanford is our guest, the creator and co-director of scambusters.org. I would encourage you to go to the website. Something else that's interesting, and you don't really think about it, we just finished up with tax season, but people will run off to photocopy machines at the library, the post office, at a lot of the places that do that type of thing all around town. They will do faxes. And this is something that's becoming, as I understand, an increasing problem, where when you go to the photocopier, you're throwing your Social Security number, credit card numbers out there, and you don't know what's happening to it.
The last thing I think of that most people think of when they think of identity theft is photocopiers.
Yes.
When you make a copy, that, you know, the idea that somebody could steal your identity just from that seems absolutely unbelievable. But in fact, that's true. What's happened is that over the last several years, photocopiers now wind up having hard disks. And so that information can be used by an unscrupulous employee, or if the photocopier is networked and the proper precautions are not being taken. And especially when you do photocopy something like a tax return, or something that has your Social Security number and private information, that information can be gotten right off the hard disk as if it's any other hard disk.
That's absolutely amazing.
It can be real dangerous, and unfortunately, although now some of the photocopier manufacturers are realizing that this is an issue and are putting in protections, over the past few years, the digital photocopiers didn't have those protections. So if you go to photocopy places to get your photocopies done, those machines may well be digital and have those hard drives.
So once again, be very, very cautious when you're using Social Security numbers, credit card numbers. You have no idea what's happening to those. Audrey Lanford has been our guest on This Week in America. She's the creator, co-director of scambusters.org. That is the website. You can sign up at the website for Internet Scam Busters, the #1 publication for Internet fraud. Audrey, thank you so much. I encourage people to go to the website. A lot you'll find. Our website, by the way, is This Week in America. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thanks, Audrey. We're going to do another one.